Manus flat on the canvas. We are ready to rock and roll. Second round of action. There is a cut on Manus.
Yeah.
Martial arts chat.
My man B-Hop got dropped out the ring last night. I need a little judo baby. I need me a little judo baby, and let's do it, Ron. Let's give me a.
See you were telling me this. You've got a face for radio.
I've got a face for radio.
That's nice.
Martial arts chat.
Hello and welcome to the Martial Arts Chat podcast. On tonight's episode we'll be reacting to last night's UFC Philadelphia. Later in the show we'll be answering your fan questions. But before I introduce the next panel, let me first just give a shout out to our sponsors, A1 Fight Gear. A1 Fight Gear use the latest cutting edge boxing gloves for professional and amateur fighters, gym enthusiasts and kickboxers. So local and national gyms in the UK, do yourselves a favour and go check out A1FightGear.com. If you want to get back into shape, continue to stay in shape, keep trimming the fat off, whatever your gimmick, go to beastgear.co.uk and use the coupon code MartialArtsChat. If you do that, you'll save 15% off your purchases. They've got core sliders, straps, barbell pads, all sorts of complete strength and conditioning programs suit your needs at all levels. Beast your goals with beastgear.co.uk. Finally, we're also sponsored by World of Martial Arts Television. WOMA TV produces, finds, acquires, commissions and presents all you ever wanted to know about martial arts. You can discover techniques, exercises and forms from your favourite martial artists to explore martial art philosophies, health, culture and spirituality. So to tonight's panel, pleasure to have him back on the show. It's been too long. From Carson's Corner, it's Mr. Bob Carson. Bob, how you doing, my friend?
John, it's a pleasure, guys. It's a pleasure to be on with you.
Awesome stuff, man. Also returning to the show, we're delighted he's back from MMA Huddle. It's Mr. Jon Ferguson. John, how you doing, mate?
I'm absolutely grand, gents. Good to be back having a good banter about some lovely fights we've had this weekend.
Awesome, man. Finally, my brother from another mother from Fight Talk Scotland, Mr. Don Wilson. Don, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing good this week. Pushed out of sickness, so I'm feeling better.
He's rose for the dead for this one, that's it, man. UFC Philly, guys, some scraps last night. Let's get the panel's reaction. 3 in particular, and we'll start with the performance of the night. My man Bearjew, Paul Craig, got matched with another undefeated fighter, man. And this boy tried to poke the eyes right out his head, but he persevered, got it to the ground, got another nice, tidy sub for his troubles. Let's hear the panel's thoughts. Start with Don Wilson on this one. Don, how did you react to it, mate?
I heard this guy was one of John Jones's cousins. Those eye pokes.
Yeah, man.
This was a weird one. Like the way they built the guy up, it was like he said he'd like won one of the was it the contenders?
I don't know, man. I think it is. So.
Dana White Contender Series,
yeah. And then he decided to go and do the scene before coming to the UFC. So he came in and he obviously seemed confident, but Bearjew seemed to have his number in the first round. It was like he was lucky to get out with these subs and stuff. And I was like, yeah, and I was like, I don't think this is going to go much further. And then all of a sudden, in the second round, Paul just seemed to kind of be like tired. He was no longer shooting in for the takedowns, even though he was getting caught for most of the attempts. But he just seemed to be tired, and he was like, right, I think one each probably. They get into the third, and the third round was just, I think both of them were just kind of didn't have much left in the tank, so they thought we'll just kind of keep it a stand up. But it was fun. But it was like for the first round, I was like, this has turned into a really good fight. Submissions all over the place. This could be a really really fun one. Then it just kind of flattened out towards the second round. So I don't know kind of what happened, but that finish, he had him. Then he came out, and it was just the way as soon as he pulled the arm and locked, he just saw the leg like. It was like an alligator just clap round the neck. As that guy's done. Right. I think he complained after the.
I saw. What was he complaining about?
I don't know what he was complaining about. I don't know if it was
he held.
Yeah, because it was like somebody says, he might probably because he held it too long. But when you look at it, it's like he tapped and he let him go. There was nothing really much there. So I don't know what it was.
Yeah, man, I know that feeling when those legs are around you. It's you need to tap, or it's night and night. You don't got a choice, man. The guy's it's just phenomenal.
I know, it was fun to see that win. It's like if people are going to like that's him with 2 really good kind of sub wins, kind of late on in fights. Folk are actually going to probably want to start tuning in now to just see what happens next with him. He's kind of in a good place, but a kind of weird place as well because he's had a couple of like late fights, but I think most folk thought even if that went to decision, he probably would have scraped through with a win. So it wasn't that bad for him, but it was like he got that late win bonus. So it's overall good for him, I think.
Happy days, man. John, how about yourself? What was your thoughts on this fight, sir?
I was surprised with the matchup to begin with, but I suppose Paul Craig's got one of those awkward situations in the light heavyweight division, because you either fight the kind of guys who are fresh into the division, or there's no middle ground because it's too shallow, or you shoot straight up to like the higher level guys. There's no middle ground in that weight class. Do you know what? For example, the lightweight division, it's so stacked.
Mm-hmm.
You could fight a plethora of guys in that middle range to get yourself a bit more time experience. And the problem you look at Paul Craig has, he either fights newbies or he fights savages. So he's in that kind of awkward situation where if had this match, and to be honest with you, Kennedy was woeful on the stand-up. Like, he stopped using his jab. He just switched off, really. It was really peculiar. Paul, could have worked a lot more on those entries, a bit more on his takedowns. He got a couple, but when he started to tire, I thought he could have used that strike and just set that up a bit better. But yeah, it was not a bad win at all, getting a submission. I thought Kennedy's fight IQ was just poor there because, again, he just needed to he should have just stayed standing, even though he wasn't having the great success because his footwork was awful, because he just followed him round.
Yeah.
Like, he just didn't try to cut it off with leg kicks or anything. It was really peculiar. He was trying to set up the head kick, I think, maybe. But because Paul kept moving, circling round, he wasn't able to set that head kick up. But yeah, it was from a submission, yes. Kennedy's fight IQ poor, but for me, Paul Craig, if he just works on that transition from striking to takedown, he can have a bit more success with getting the fight to the ground, I think, and keeping it down there.
Yeah, he was pulling guard a couple of times, wasn't he? Just blatantly want to get it to the ground, and I don't know how I feel about that, man.
You got to, because Kennedy's got heavy ground and pound, mate. If you look at his fights outside UFC, he stopped some dudes with his ground and pound. You saw Paul anyway. He didn't like it. A couple of incidences in the fight where he just went, I'm not having this, and tried to change from like half guard to guard. He got away from that danger because he didn't like the feel of it either. He's got some nasty ground and pound, Kennedy, and I'm sure any 205 has got some, cheeky ground and pound.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Bob, what were your reaction to Paul versus Kennedy here?
Yeah, this was a real kind of odd fight here. Kennedy's fighting style. I'll steal some of my colleagues' thunder here. Don Wilson. I thought that Kennedy was maybe a training partner of John Jones there. But so many fouls. Paul was very close, looked like very close to landing an armbar in the first round. He was trying to get the takedown and pulled guard a bunch of times. And, you got to give him credit because he has a tendency to face these undefeated fighters. When he fought Tyson Pedro was undefeated. And, of course, Kennedy's undefeated. And, late round submissions, late fight submissions has really become almost a calling card for Paul Craig there. Of course, tapped out Ankalaev at the last second of their fight.
Yeah.
4 minutes and 59 seconds in the third round. And so this has really become a calling card for him. Glad he was able to get the bonus there. He was able to kind of woo the crowd afterwards with his "Yo, Adrian." That was pretty fun. It seems like he's got a good personality and whatnot, and we're going to have to see what happens in the future. I think he's capable of beating just about anybody in that division.
He keeps calling for. I know Paul quite well. So, like, when we talk about fights and what would you really want? He wants like a legend fight. He wants who comes to me like a Shogun or something. I think that's
he's been one Shogun for a while.
Yeah. That's the caliber he's looking for. I think if he could retire on a fight like that, he would. That would really be a top moment in the UFC. Fighting undefeated guys is fine, and he's had them one after the other, like we said. Enrique de Silva, Jimmy Crute was his last fight. That boy looks at business, and then here with Kennedy as well. But it would be nice to put him in with an established name and see how that jiu-jitsu holds up here. Let's move on, guys. Josh Emmett gets back to winning ways. A tidy finish of Michael Johnson. Let's hear the panel's thoughts. We'll start with Bob this time. Bob, Josh, is he right back in the mix here?
I think so. He came in ranked number 10, and there was a lot of questions because I know you guys probably saw this as well. When he fought Jeremy Stephens, the amount of injuries that he sustained was just absolutely heartbreaking. The guy got his whole face broken by Jeremy Stephens, and it was almost the equivalent of him being in a real bad car wreck, sustaining those elbows. So we were kind of uncertain. Everybody was uncertain about Josh's future. He was that was about 13 months ago, and when you get such an injury like that, it's always a question mark as far as how the fighter is going to respond and whatnot. And he responded well. He waited for his time. He's got a huge right hand. He's a real tight, compact striker. And I thought the first couple of rounds were uneventful. It was, for me, I don't know, maybe some people had a different opinion, but it wasn't really clear who was winning the fight. Maybe you could argue Johnson, or it was just kind of going back and forth there. But then he waited for his time and landed a real good right hand. And I think he's right back there in the mix.
Yeah, man. I'm hearing a lot of shouts for he should be. I don't know. No, I don't want to say title picture, but let's say top 5 anyway. His name's getting thrown about, but then that is always the way of it after fresh off of UFC. But yeah, man, I think it puts him right in there for sure. Don Wilson, how about you, sir? Your thoughts on this finish?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as Bob. Like, I kind of lost interest with the fight. I kind of started looking at other things and just kind of tuned in right at basically the right time. It was like Johnson gets switched off. It was. Came through there the right, and his body froze and standing up and just hit the deck. It was a really good KO to see, and kind of got me back into watching the event. I'd kind of phased out at that point, but yeah, I don't know if because Bob was saying he was 10th going into that fight. I don't know if I see him moving up to the 5th, but I can definitely see him moving up a couple of spaces. But yeah, he's definitely back in the mix. But I don't know how far he goes. Every division when you start to hit kind of past top 8, get into top 5, they're all full of killers, so we'll see how it goes for him.
For sure, man. And finally, John, your reaction to this fight in the featherweight division, sir?
We definitely needed that kind of finish because the fight card in general, as a whole, really, before the main card was a bit of a bummer. Let's be honest. It was a decision after. It was just a bit of a humdinger. So the main card kind of perked things up. I won't say, but Michael Johnson had that fight wrapped up. He was just getting off with a better shot, nice angles, nice footwork. Emmett just looked obviously like he'd been out for a little while, was getting himself back in the groove. 3rd round, he started to get his timing a bit more, started to land a bit more. I don't know if maybe Johnson was getting a bit cocksure of himself and thought he had it in the bag and maybe switched off a little bit mentally. And then obviously Josh, caught him. But I think for me, matchup-wise, I'd like to see him against Betic. Mirsad Betic would be a nice fight, him and them two going at it. I don't know if, unless you give him like a star fight, like a Frankie Edgar or something. But yeah, like Mirsad Betic and him to match up next.
Guys, last bit of business before we get to fan question is the main event. I was going to say, in all its glory, 2 minutes of it, but I mean, it was everything we expected. We saw leg kick strikes, a brutal KO, of course, as advertised is how they say it in it. Let's start with John this time. John, your reaction to this main event, sir?
I predicted Gaethje to stop Barboza, but obviously in 3rd or 4th round, not exactly the first. I expected him just to be a punching bag for a few rounds and then Edson, as he does, tire. But that knockout, if you watch, we've had a couple of great stellar knockout or stoppages in the last couple of main events. If you look at the Pettis-Thompson knockout, it's very similar. And what I mean by that is, both guys who are receiving the knockout blow are moving backwards as the punch comes towards them. If you look, their feet are kind of off the ground.
Right.
So they're not, the distribution of the force of the punch is not getting dispersed. And it was, both of them are just getting caught. And the guys are just closing these gaps a little bit quicker on these guys going back. And it's just a habit I think guys have when they think they're out of range. They can drop their hands a bit. And if you look at Edson, that's what he did. He kind of thought he'd be out of range and just got clipped and dropped, and you just think for Edson, he's just always going to be shy of that belt. He's always going to be that perennial guy. You just feel bad for him, but it happens. And I think Gaethje's the same. I don't think he'd ever win that belt, but I just think he'll just be one of those guys. He'll be a good barn burner kind of guy, but he's never going to wear that strap.
Yeah, exactly. But it's particularly with Gaethje, but both as well, I suppose. It's almost like these guys are exciting enough. I don't need a belt slapped on. I don't need a belt on the
Yeah.
line to be excited to watch those guys fight. But yeah, man, it's. Do you know what's making me snigger? Because people online are going, "Oh, that was over dead quick." Like, what did you expect from this fight? You know what I mean? It's going to be someone's getting stretchered out of there. That's how that fight was going to end. If you know anything about MMA, I mean that your radar would be going off for that one. But aye, man, some scrap for as long as it lasted. Bob, your thoughts on and your reaction to this one, sir?
Yeah, I agree with John. A lot of what he said, but I got to tell you, Justin Gaethje almost seems like a new fighter now. I posted on Twitter his power is definitely increasing. Each fight, it looks like he's just seemingly a different fighter there. And I gave Edson the nod going into this fight. I figured Edson was going to be able to neutralize him with his leg kicks and whatnot, but it seemed that even Gaethje was getting the better of the exchanges when it came to leg kicks as well. And he's just in the zone right now, and it's really, really scary to watch him. It's exciting too. I mean, this fight obviously lived up to everybody's expectations. I mean, everybody knew that this was going to be a real barn burner. But you got to give Gaethje credit. This is a guy who fights despite the fact that his teammates like Curtis Blades and others urge him to use his wrestling. They don't want him to take so much punishment, but he wants to do it because he wants to give a pleasing fight to the fans, and that's the only style he knows. Just going forward and punching and trying to get his opponent out of there. And this is his second win in a row via knockout. And I got to tell you, I said that for a long time too, that maybe he's not going to win the belt and so on and so forth. But this is a sport of streaks, and this is a sport of who's hot and who's got it together, right at the moment. And I wouldn't be surprised if, Gaethje, just hypothetically, he fought Eddie Alvarez again or fought a Poirier again, and the result was different. It's definitely not inconceivable. Now, the question is, who does he want to fight next, or who is he going to fight next? And there's a bunch of mixed messages here because, he said right after, during the post-fight interview, that he would like to fight a guy in the top 6. There's plenty of opponents out there that would be great for him. But then when he did the interview with ESPN with Felder and Karen Bryan, and I forget who else, Felder and him sort of got into it, and there was talk about them fighting each other. I don't want to see that fight as much as I like Paul Felder, and as much as I think that would be an exciting fight. I want to see him fight somebody in the top 5, top 6. I want to see him fight, Ferguson, although Ferguson, is supposed to have a shot against the winner of Aldo and or not Aldo, Holloway and Poirier, and he's been long on the cusp of getting a title shot, or a Khabib, or fill in the blank. I think it's definitely conceivable Justin could win those fights, and you got to really admire the fact that he's been a real draw now. People are really starting to cling to him. They like his style, they like his personality, so. The future is wide open for Justin Gaethje.
Absolutely, man. Finally, Don, everything you expected from this one, then, mate?
Yeah, both these guys are bad dudes.
Yeah,
it's just every top, even though it was short, but every point they started trading, the bodies were absolutely solid. The guys were planted on the ground, and they were just when you see them swinging, like both their arms were tensed up. Everything was 100%. It was like if one of them kind of hits you, you're done. And it was you could see it was only a matter of time before somebody was getting flat out, and that was that finish as he was circling away just caught him. But was it been finished like that before? When he's been circling away and been KO'd, like going backwards. I don't know. Was just something about it.
My mind's went blank. I can't think of Barbosa ever being finished. I'm obviously wrong. He has been.
Not in the first round.
No. Well, he's got that famous. Was it him that got iced like years ago? Remember, there was a spinning kick. And,
that was against Terry Edson.
Terry Edson got done that. Yeah, but there's just something flashed my mind. I was like, it's that just it must just be that KO. That KO seems kind of memorable. Well, somebody's circling away and they just get caught as they're going away, and the body just keeps going and hits the mat. But no, that was a real fun fight. Gaethje's obviously a fan favourite. Like I don't know what they'll do. Do they want to fling him straight up? Risk kind of getting out, or did they go with that Felder fight? Who Felder's obviously quite popular as well. He's coming up. He's had some good fights, but I don't know where they go with Gaethje. I would like to see him get somebody higher. He does deserve it. So that's 2 in a row, and you could put him against anybody, and he's at the point where I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to watch that.
Same, exactly. Aye,
he's a fun fighter.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, he's fun no matter who he's fighting. It was particularly fun when it was Barbosa, but yeah, you're right. You can it's easy to match that guy with anyone and get people to tune in. Guys, time for the final part of the show. It's my favourite, answering fan questions. Just a reminder to the panel, it's an open floor. You don't have to wait your turn, guys. So if you're ready, let's start with Facebook. Top of the pile comes Miles Painter, who is asking, who would be the next logical opponents for Sadiq Youssef and Michelle Watterson?
That's a tough one. Michelle Watterson, I wouldn't give her a title fight. No, I'd give her Suarez.
Tatiana Suarez is a fucking beast.
Man.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. Watterson,
she's a beast.
I was expecting Carolina to win that, but Watterson.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I was like when I was watching, like, I think she's got this. It was a weird one. I expected. What you got, Bob?
I'm sorry. No, Suarez is fighting.
She's got someone booked. Yeah,
Nina
Brazil,
Ansaroff.
right?
Yeah, she has. But I'd still give the winner of that one to maybe Watson.
Yeah,
man.
You know, I just think that. Yeah, because I think Suarez will beat Nina anyway. But that's a hard one for Youssef because there's quite a few guys. I'd still think Youssef is still early days. I'd still, you know, I wouldn't push too far. Obviously, Shaman Rice to crack and win. Kevin Aguilar on the same card won, you know, so them two alone could maybe go off against each other. You know, Aguilar and Youssef. Arnold Allen, maybe. Youssef and Arnold Allen.
Arnold Allen's a great shout, man. I like Arnold Allen. Michelle Watson's much like Gaethje, a fun fighter. I love watching her fight, but maybe just not for the same reasons. I shall move on from that.
That dance.
She's got good head kicks. She's got good head kicks. He's got good leg kicks. That's what you mean, yeah.
Exactly. It's all in the technique, mate. It's all in the technique. Kevin Jones is asking, is Conor's win over Alvarez less impressive after he got smoked by a guy most of us have never heard of?
No.
Is it tainted? No. I don't know.
No.
I haven't seen the fight, but the rumour is that he was doing all right and then just got sparked. I don't know. I haven't seen any.
Yeah, he got caught. Basically, he went to block. The guy came to throw a combination and just snuck like a shovel uppercut through, and it just caught him and rocked him a bit, and then the guy just kind of swarmed him. But you know, you got to take into context the Eddie Alvarez then, the Eddie Alvarez now, the circumstances, the pressure that was on Conor become a double champ. You know, it was a different. Don't take any shine off. I don't think. I wouldn't say so. I don't think it takes any shine off it.
I agree.
Fair enough. Kev also follows up with, what's up with freedom of speech in Ireland? I don't know what he means. Is there something about a freedom of speech law in Ireland changed?
As you talk about the Conor McGregor situation, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I wouldn't want to touch that.
So sorry, Kev, they're all a bunch of pussies, and so am I. I'm not touching it either. Let's move on. Let see. Matthew Penny, should Eddie retire after being demolished in his one debut? Matthew answers a
debut. I see.
Nah, no chance.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think they would allow it, really, would they? Let's be honest.
No. You can't sign a fight like Eddie and have him kind of bow out after his debut for a few promotion.
And you're looked after, right? I mean, from what I'm hearing, like Ben Askren, the way they talk about it, like you're financially sound signing with UFC, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Good. It's good money outside. Like obviously the pay packets, and it's just good. Apparently, basically they're hemorrhaging money, but it's
See, that's always worrying to hear because, like, I know, I won't name names, but I know fighters that have fought for, like, ACB or whatever they're calling themselves now. Yeah. But, you know, like, you hear stories about how financially it's a bit... Again, I want to watch what I'm saying because it's Russia, man, and I could be, you know, slipping on some chloroform on the way to the toilet or something. So, anyway, I'll move on for that.
Fingers, yeah.
Oh, mate, I'm just digging a hole. Let's move on. Jesus, now I'm getting scared. Chris Allen is asking, should Ross... There's a lot of calls for retirement tonight. Should Ross Pearson retire from the UFC, I guess he means MMA, and join bare knuckle boxing? Bare knuckle FC, is that what it's called? Bare knuckle FC?
Yeah.
I don't think Pearson retires for years. He's the type of guy who'll fight until he can barely walk back in there.
Yeah,
Like,
I know. But when was the last time he won a fight? I mean, for fuck's sake.
He won a decision. He won a decision a couple of fights ago against
yeah, 'cause
some Asian. Oh, who's the Asian fighter he fought? Japanese fighter. It's going to do my head in now.
because he had a bad run of it, and we thought one more, and he's out of the UFC, and then he did win that fight.
He got a crappy decision win against Hirota, who's awful anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I'm checking here. It was 1, 2, 3, 4 losses in a row, then a win, and then that's been another 2 losses in a row.
Oh, so what's
I wonder
that, 1 and 7?
I wonder if they keep him.
Come on.
So I wonder that.
Do you know Tom Heffernan's reason why he's still in the UFC?
Because Mrs.
Yeah, his wife's a ring card girl, in it, and she's pretty top. I don't know. I don't know if I should buy into that or not. But
I wouldn't. If I was him, I wouldn't bother staying in the UFC. And to be fair, you know, he gets dropped a lot now, and you got to think to yourself, bare knuckle boxing.
Exactly.
Oh, I don't know about that, mate. How much has he made? I'd imagine he's made enough to sit down and retire on it.
Yeah, he seems to be like you see pictures like on, I think it's Instagram his stories, and he seems to be living a good life in the States. If that's just what he's trained, but he definitely seems the type of guy. If he gets released for the UFC, he will keep fighting. Bellator are pushing a lot of shows in the UK now, and you can see them easily pushing Ross Pearson on a UK card.
And Cage Warriors announced that they were going down to Australia, didn't they?
That's
right.
So
he trains. Yeah. He resides down in Australia. So if they would have cut him, it might be something to look at as well.
The bare knuckle boxing thing, I guess I'll just chuck in my question, because I see it a lot online. I don't know if it's just the threads I'm in or whatever, but as far as I know, there's 2 promotions. But does this do well? Because it seems to get names, man, and it gets recognition.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, don't get it.
I don't know where to see it. Is it on a network, or what's the deal?
It's online, isn't it?
I think they're on pay-per-view. They have they're having a pay-per-view. I'm going, actually. They're going to be in New York City this week, Tuesday.
All right.
They're having a media day workout with Artem Lobov, Anthony Johnson, and Paulie Malignaggi, who just recently signed the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. And they have a pay-per-view market. They do pretty well. They create a lot of buzz. They got money behind them, and they're doing it the right way. It's not like Basarutin's organization where they go belt up and the guys don't get paid. Lieben's got to sue. Everybody's got to sue, and these guys, I feel bad for them. But they have David Feldman has a really good product over there, and it's creating an alternative. Look at what Beck Rawlings has done. I mean, Beck Rawlings, was doing okay in the UFC, but lost some fights, and she goes over there and she's like a superstar now. So it's creating an alternative for fighters out there. It's good, entertaining, fights for the fans.
Now here's
I don't really get it, but I think if I need to watch one before I can comment on it. When I started here being little boxing, I'm like, it just doesn't. It seems as if they're going backwards. It's like the whole point of the gloves is to protect the hands.
Well, they wear hand wraps. They wear hand wraps in it,
like halfway.
I think I saw that, but it's like I wonder how much it actually protects if it's just hand wraps. It's like because the whole thought, take the gloves off, blah blah blah. But it's like you fling a few punches with that, and your hands done. The gloves are there so you can keep going. But I think once I actually watch it and see the process and all that, I'd probably change my mind.
Yeah, and well, with MMA gloves, because I compete in MMA as well. It's the 4 ounce glove itself. The 4 full ounces isn't on across the knuckle. It's spread over the whole weight of the hand, like the length of the part of the back of the hand. So you don't actually get the full protection on the front. It's only a small bit of protection. Like I've cracked people, and like your wrist, I hurt my wrist from just that awkward angle. Just it's there to protect, but the hand wrap is actually what is the protection. Like for example, there's a guy called Jamie Sheldon, Adam Gilly. They're guys who hand wrap cut men for the UFC and stuff, and do a lot of UK shows. They do hand wraps, and it feels like you've got a cast on. Like you can't. You can't move if you don't want to. Like, but they do the boxing, you see as well. They do like Jamie does Bearjew. Like he'll wrap the hands. It feels like you've got a cast. Like you can punch through walls of it. But Brad Pickett won last night and knocked the guy out. And Mark Godbeer.
Mark Godbeer, I saw his. That's right.
Yeah, both of the lads won last night.
So what's the setup for it? Is it a ring or a cage or
boxing ring?
A back street?
boxing ring.
Don would love that, man. He would definitely tune in a Backstreet bare knuckle. That's all you need, son.
I'd sign up in a heartbeat.
Yeah, chalk circle.
The stupid question I was going to ask is if they've got hand wraps, that isn't bare knuckle then, is it?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I'm just being a school teacher prick, I'm sorry. Let's move on. I've got two more from Twitter then before we wrap up, guys. First one is from Briggs Snipes. Is Jose Aldo in or out of this fight with Volkanovski?
Good question. We're still waiting.
Yeah.
No idea.
I think the jury's out, man.
Yeah, it's...
What is it? Apparently, he's injured.
Like infection on his knee or something.
Bacterial infection, they said.
Weird.
No.
Yeah. No idea. But then again, he lives in like a humid country, doesn't he? Well, humidity's quite high, so infections, when they come on, I imagine they come on quite strong. Same with like when Vinny Magalhaes got a staph infection under his arm, and it was just absolutely gnarly. You know, because I think he was based in Florida, Vinny was, something like that. So it's all about the humidity, just absolutely kind of speeds up. Yeah, speeds up. So could be that. He could be trying to get rid of it. But when he trains, obviously his body temperature's going up. He's in a hot gym. It just could be the fact that he has to stop training to get rid of it, but you don't want to stop training when you've got a savage like Volkanovski coming at you.
It's true, man. Maybe he should just come to the Scottish Hit Squad in the winter, because like there's no bacteria moving about then. We're barely moving. It's freezing, man. Freezing. So cold on those mats. Coaches like that don't wear socks. You kidding me? Anyway, last one from Twitter, guys, at Else for Elf. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers on the panel. That's a rude thing. Is it too soon to say Gaethje versus Nurmagomedov? I think Bob called it earlier, right?
Yeah, sure. I don't think so. I mean, look, you're going to tell me that it's not possible that Gaethje wins? You know, Khabib, I've never seen Gaethje get taken down. Gaethje's a solid wrestler. He could definitely knock out Khabib. I think that would be a real good fight.
It would be a good fight. He's not in line, though. That's the only problem.
Right.
I know Dana doesn't stick to anything. But when you've done an interim title fights and stuff like that, it's kind, and especially if you've got Holloway and Dustin fighting, there's no way you could have Justin Gaethje supersede them like that. If I was Max or Dustin, I'd be like, right, because Dustin was talking about, you know, let me release my contract and stuff. I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. He'd be like, I'd rather go than to get messed around. So he's got another fight in him, you know, before he'd even get a title fight. So I reckon maybe Tony Ferguson, because if you got Holloway, Dustin are fighting each other, then Khabib's going to come back in September. So the winner of that matchup fights Khabib in September. You could have Tony Ferguson with Gaethje in the meantime for the December, maybe end year card, main event, for the lightweight title, something like that.
Yeah, either that or Cowboy versus Iaquinta, the winner of that fight.
Oh, I like it.
Iaquinta, yeah, that's going to be a good scrap.
Fair play, man. There you have it, guys. UFC Philly. It's in the books, as they say. Just a reminder that 2 weeks from now will be our anniversary show. We're going to have a big round table. So you guys, we would love to have Bob on. We want to have John on, Don, and you name it. BeScared.co.uk are going to help us out with some prizes. Send us all your questions, man. Best question will get picked by a panel, and you'll get a chance to win those goodies. But let me just, at this time, thank the panel here, starting from the only corner I want to be on, Carson's corner. Bob, thank you so much for your time. Let our people know where to check out all the work you do online, my friend.
Thank you. I'm sorry, John. I don't know if it's just mine. You're kind of breaking up there. I got a little bit of what you said, but I appreciate it. We definitely have to have you on the show as soon as possible. I really appreciate it, and everything you do, and you facilitate great discussions here, and this is a great podcast. I want to thank also John and Don as well. Great analysis, and I'd love to be on the panel with you guys in the future if possible.
Superb stuff, man. And to Don Wilson. Don, always a pleasure, mate. Been too long, my friend. Let everyone know where to check out Fight Talk Scotland.
Fight Talk Scot, pretty much everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, easy to find.
Excellent stuff, my man. Finally, Jon Ferguson. John, massive thank you for coming on the show, brother. Love having you on, mate. Let our listeners know all about MMA Huddle and the great work you do online, my friend.
Well, firstly, thanks very much, guys. Always good speaking with you all. It was a pleasure having this chat today. And yeah, I'm saying YouTube is our main content, you know, where we do our stuff. So if you subscribe and there, but again, we're on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that jazz. Simple. MMA Huddle, you'll find us easy.
Awesome stuff. And if you've liked this podcast, be sure to subscribe on iTunes. We're live every Sunday 8:30pm in the UK, talking MMA, martial arts, you name it. Go to facebook.com/martial arts chat and give us a like. You can follow us on Twitter @martial arts chat, and search for us all platforms, man. Podbean, iTunes, you name it. Just search for martial arts chat. Look for the little I usually say it's the Mr. Potato Head with a black belt on. Look for that little logo and you've got us, guys. But I'm John Boy McElroy. Until next time, I'll catch you on the Martial Arts Chat podcast.